I'm going to keep you on. So for your 5 tips, you sent over a lot of great stuff, and one of them, I wish I would have put it on there. I thought, and we joked earlier. I thought we were talking about Ray Pack, and it was your 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 own sales thing. So hopefully we'll get to it. But this one jumped out at me. I don't think that we have ever had anyone on the podcast. And Nick, how many years have we been doing this? 11, 12?
13?
13?
Yeah.
Jeez. Time flies when you're not having fun. But body language.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I'd be afraid to watch if there's a hidden camera where I was on a buyer consultation or a listing presentation, I'm not sure what my body language would look like.
Yeah. So this one, when we all started, I've been in sales for almost 25 years, but your first sales manager, or you probably pitched this to your team, smile, get on the phone and smile. They can't see you, but they can feel you, right?
Mhm.
Enhance the attributes of your house. You can raise your voice when you pretend. In other words, I'm not going to put a plug on what we're doing right now. There's a system called Power Sales. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not, but we pay for it, just very similar to people that pay for coaching. And my partner agents and I have been doing this since May, and that's all we talk about. We have a 1 hour class every single week, and we talk about, at least for 30 minutes of the hour, going back to the basics of body language and role play that out on emails, on phone calls, on your follow-up, on your drip campaigns, especially if you are in front of somebody on a presentation, buyer presentation or seller presentation, or at an open house. It's huge. Why do you think people, when you're looking at, I'm not trying to manipulate how you're going to get someone's attention, but it's huge when you picture yourself that you are, and this sounds like a total resocialization, you're changing your identity. I don't want people to be a schizophrenic, but it's true. Mike, if you are a Cardinals fan and I am a Seahawks fan or a Rams fan,
I hate you.
Absolutely. Why would I even bring that up? We have to pay attention to the details. If you pull in the driveway and you have somebody who has a Dodgers license plate on their back of their car, don't go in there and tell them you're a Diamondbacks fan. Just don't do that. Pay attention to your surroundings. Change your identity a little bit and pretend, have fun with it, guys. Pretend like you're on drama stage. You're making a movie. You have the stage. Enhance your attributes. Politicians, people that speak a lot, that try to grab people's attentions, that are influencers, they use their hands, right? I mean, they pound on tables. They stand up. They walk around rather than just sitting there having conversations. They walk around the room. They role play it. Oh, I can really see an angle outside like that. Just little things like that count, Mike.
It's funny because Nick and I, we always talk about don't isolate half your audience. Stay away from politics on social media, stay away from controversial issues. But I didn't think that if I pulled up with a Dodgers license plate that would be controversial. But yes, people hate the Dodgers.
Sure.
And I was born and raised a Dodger fan. So good thing I don't have a Dodger anything on my car.
Those are just small little, details and examples. But if you really do pay attention to this, and not only that, clean up your verbiage, clean up your English.
I'm out.
When you hear when body English, if you're sitting around and you're talking, and there's different personalities, but if I'm talking to you, Mike, and I'm looking around the room and I'm going, well, that's your body English and your energy is low. Yeah. You got to bring it, man. This is, in other words,
you got to wow them.
You really do have to wow them. And think about this, guys. When you're selling a real estate for somebody, and I'm always kind of relate to a listing agent because that's majority of what we do at the Sears Group. We're probably 70-30, what have you. But think about, for example, there are many sectors. I mean, we all have a financial advisor. We all have there's you put money into a 401k, a Roth IRA, a SEP IRA. Well, real estate is a huge asset class. It just is. So you have got to know your stuff.
Yeah.
And you have got to sell it. We are not realtors first. We are sales associates.
One of the things that I learned from my business partner Ryan Gertis, and I think most of our team does it, but when he's on the phone, you'll never see unless he's driving, you'll never see him on the phone sitting down. He's got his AirPods in, and he's always walking because
Love
there's
it.
so much more energy that comes through your voice when you're walking. And for me, because I've done so much public speaking and I'm a stage walker, like it's a whole different zone when I'm walking around having conversations on the phone with people rather than just sitting. I just had a foot long subway and my belly's put me to sleep. But all right, good stuff. Number two, agents should be proactive to an industry that is reactive, meaning, don't be lazy. I love that. Do you really use your CRM? And nobody likes change, Martin.
No, they don't. And I guess when I sent that over to you, Mike, what I was really referring to was complacency is a killer in every industry, right? If we're slow right now, you still need to put in your 40 hours a week. There was a book I remember when I was a very first agent a long, long time ago. Many, I won't say then, back well, it was in the 90s. But there was a coloring book when I worked for a different brokerage, and I've been with West, by the way, for 18 years. But before then, I was with a different brokerage in a different state, and it was interesting where it was called "Color Me Successful." I remember my first day with my broker back in the '90s. They'd say, "Well, Sears, before you take on floor or anything, you gotta do this. You gotta take this for about 2 weeks and turn it into me. We're gonna talk about it." So you would have your passive crayons, your blue crayons, your yellow crayons, and when you're new, you don't have any business, right? But you would just really think about all the downtime that you have during your day. I'm gonna get on the phone. I'm gonna talk to my buddies. I'm gonna watch YouTube. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get on Facebook. Whatever. Work on your business. A full-time job is 40 hours a week. Make sure you put 40 hours a week into real estate subject situations.
Yeah, and I would start with I love that your CRM. I mean, I think by now most of us have CRMs, um, but a lot of us don't use it. And I always talk about using your CRM, and I think everybody just assumes that I'm on top of it all the time, and I wake up every morning just with a big smile on my face, going, "Man, today I get to jump into my CRM." My CRM is the bane of my existence, but it's also, it's also where my leads come from. It's also where my income comes from, and so forth. And so I'm just I was talking. I did a free hour coaching session with a brand new agent the other day, and she just got done with her real estate classes and so forth. And I'm like, listen, I'm just going to tell you right now, before you do anything, just get your CRM system and master it. And she goes, I've talked to so many agents and no one's even said that. I'm like, oh my
Wow.
God.
Wow.
Like, cause I know for me, I wish I would have had one when I started,
100%.
you know?
100%. No, it's huge. It's vital. And I know that I'm serious, guys. That is a vital part of your business. I was in a mastermind meeting group right before it was sometime last year, and there was or it was I know what it was. It was after Inman of last year, and Gary Killer was one of the speakers at Inman last year, I believe. And don't quote me on the number, but I know it was over 30. They took a study of all KW agents that were on teams and just solo agents, and using their platform, whatever they pitch or whatever they sell. I don't know if it's Follow Up Boss or whatever, but the bottom line was, how many times did you drip on an individual through your CRM before they were a client, before you had them on paper, before they signed an agency? It was 33 or 35 times. That's enormous. Like, you're not just going to pick up the phone or email somebody asking for their business. It's going to take you, Mike. I'm pretty sure your wife didn't say you didn't ask your wife to marry you on the first date.
Yeah, but she would have said yes. I mean, look at me, Martin. I mean,
Come on, man.
Nick's probably laughing behind my back because he knows my wife really, really well.
But I mean, you got to romance that thing. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
you have got to work that CRM. That is vital part of your business.
Yeah, and I don't even know what I was going to say, but no, I find fascinating is we especially like we work at an open house or we have some friends, and I think the thing that where we go wrong is we think that they are on our timeline rather than us being on their timeline. And I can't tell you the number of transactions I do every year where first contact was 24 months prior. People very rarely do I just meet someone. They're like, "Hey, I got a suitcase full of cash. Let's go."
Yeah.
It takes time to cultivate that.
It sure does. I wish I had stats on that, but I do know that we do a lot of online, I guess you would say internet leads, and that's probably where a lot of leads do come from these days. But the stat is on that several months. You're right. It's plus 6 months. You got to nurture, know that word, and be patient. Because if you don't have patience and you're not going to nurture that lead, yeah, it's going to be bad.
I love this. It's always a buyer's market. It's all about the pitch you give. People always ask me, "Is this a good time to buy?" Okay, well, depends. It's always a good time to buy. Just
Hmm.
depends on who you are.
Yeah.
Mike, is it a good time to sell? Well, it depends. What are your motives? Why do you have to sell? If you're being relocated to Omaha, Nebraska, it's a freaking fantastic time to sell because you got to sell.
Right. I mean, who determines the market? I know, not just housing, cars, retail, the NASDAQ, the Dow. Who determines value or who determines the market? Why did you just like what Justin was just in here talking about? The jobs went down. That's why they think that there's going to be, they typically try to come down 25% on the interest rate because they want to try to maybe manipulate that jobs growth up, which will bring rates down and maybe get some buyers to buy homes. The buyers control the market in everything we do, in everything, selling pieces of paper, selling glasses. In a capitalist world, buyers determine the price. When you come out on an IP, I can get in the weeds on this, but anything that you've set the bar at for a price, it's the buyer's market. Buyers buy it.
So, how are you handling? I think the toughest, and just specifically talking about buyers right now, the biggest objection that agents are having in overcoming with buyers is interest rates are too high. I want to wait until interest rates to drop, and then I will think about buying. How are you and your team handling that?
We know that according to economists, it is a buyer's market. I mean, it just is, right? I mean, their average negotiations are huge right now. There's 4 to 5 months of inventory, depending on where you're at in the valley. But what I would say to that, or how I would probably react to that, would be simply write an offer. Especially, we were just talking, if the home's been on the market for 100 plus day and there's a stat out there, and submit that data, you guys, with your offer. If you can find data on the MLS, or you find data that the average negotiate, and it's on the Armless, and I don't want to plug the Cromford, but we do a lot of Cromford just because we need to know these stats. If it's been on the market for 120 days, Mike, and I'm going to submit an offer on one of your properties, I'm going to submit that data, and you're going to say it's probably going to make your seller angry, but this is something they need to know. It's a number. It doesn't lie.
Right.
Submit it. Be candid. Be proactive about it.
So my response has been lately, and it's only working. It only really works in a buyer's market. And I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago on one of our 3 packs. All right, Martin. So you're concerned about interest rates. Rates are going to, you're waiting for rates to drop. So with this current market and our ability to negotiate, my response right now is, okay, Martin, what is your magic number? What if rates were at 5.75%, would you go out house shopping?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so what if we get the seller to pay for your rate buy down? What if I told you we could go out shopping? Let's look for a house that's been on the market for 100 plus days. Let's put in an offer. And imagine if I could get you a 5.75% interest rate plus your closing costs paid for or almost paid for. Would you go out shopping?
100%.
Let's go.
Let's do it, man. No, I'm with you. That goes down to those 100, looking for those homes that have 100, 120 days on the market, and using that data, and then asking for those concessions, asking for all those closing costs. It makes sense.
I don't think I've had one closing for a buyer side this calendar year where my buyer's rate was in the sixes.
That's a phenomenal.
Everything we had a one. I don't know how Justin did it. It was a 15-year conventional, and I got so much in seller concessions that buyer 4.375%.
Man, you should have got a steak dinner for
I
that.
I'm working on that. All right, so yeah, but it is that's kind of how I'm overcoming that. Like, I can get you that because if we do wake up tomorrow and rates are 5.75%, you're paying more for that house.
I know that we're here to talk about how we can help each other out, and I mean the resale market is down. We all know that, but the average incentive right now with new
Oh my
construction
gosh.
is 6%. I don't listen. If I we're in areas just like you, Mike, that if if our inventory sits around in days on the market, we want to show our own inventory, right? We want to
Mhm.
sell our own inventory, and we want to try to feature and benefit our own inventory. But if I've got a buyer, you better believe it. I'm going to show some new construction. The average is 6%, and they can give you a 4.99 on top of that. It's nuts.
Yeah, we've sold so much. We could talk about that all day long, but new builds, if you're not having that conversation, and taking your clients out to new builds, you're doing yourself a disservice because the builder's going to do all the work for you.
100%.
I,
100%.
I love that.
Hmm.
All right, number 4, work on your business to business opportunities.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I never heard of the word a little. I don't even know what that word is. You threw out one.
I don't know what that is
Well, I
either.
copied and pasted.
You don't know alliterations?
You should have done that. I don't know. Maybe I was using Chat GPT or something, and it came out.
I mean, I got the point. I get the idea, but I'm like, man, Martin's a smart guy.
No, that's chat. I just put it in there, and it came out. Well, I should have
And
proofread
Nick
that
knows what
better.
it means. All right, what does it mean, Nick?
Too far from the microphone.
Okay, yeah, he doesn't know what it means either.
So I don't know. When you go with this, you guys think about this for a minute. Everybody in our book of business, you never want to be the source. You want to be the source of the source. That's what our brokers always tell us, right? You don't ever want to get involved when you're a general, contractor. Hey Mike, you're my agent, and we've gone through this inspection period, and now there's like 25 broken roof tile, blah 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 blah, whatever. Okay, and you probably pass out numbers to HVAC companies, roofers, landscapers, window people. We all have them. And if we don't have them, we need to have them. When's the last time, though, that they've given you something back? Have you given all of those people in your sphere a Mike business card? Have you given them any type of a gift card? Have you given them any type of value to say, bro, this is how it works? This is a network situation. I've given you probably 25 new roofs last year, and I haven't heard from you in 6 months. We have got to remember about our partners, if you want to call them, or just the people in our database or just a vendor list. If everyone has the old fashioned vendor list, you got to remember those things. And another thing you could do, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds on this because there's a lot of obstacles you could do with this. You got to talk to your loan officer to put some money or something on a settlement statement, and you certainly don't want to get into inducement rules with a broker. But people out there, listing agents, buyer agents, you give people gifts typically. We don't usually do a lot of gifts. We try to pass on the savings and come up with good customer service. But I know there's a lot of agents out there that does that, and I think that's fantastic. That's why they have the cutlery knives and so on and so forth, right? That's just a nice thing to do to stay top of mind. What about if I put on this settlement statement $500 for the next 5 months of landscaping for your new house? And then, by the way, I put a little sign out there that says, you know, your name, Mike, is West USA Realty, compliments landscaping the day that they're doing landscaping, things like that. You don't think that landscaper is going to give you business? If
Yeah.
he doesn't, he's out and you're going to find somebody else. Reciprocate. We hear that word all the time. The people that we use, they have to reciprocate, and it's a business.
But I think also it's I'm not a sit back and just hope it happens type of guy. You've got to make it happen. They've got to know what your expectations are, and they got to know that you are wanting for them to reciprocate this relationship. And the last 2 weeks, each week I've taken, I got two roofers that I'm working with. I took each one out to lunch and building that rapport. And now on both of them, we're having real estate conversations.
You're working on your business. It's great.
Yeah.
You can put that in your little Color Me Successful book. When they think you're at the lunch all the time.
Yeah, so it's you just can't. I mean, people sit back and go, "Well, they're not sending many business," and they may not even think of it,
That's right.
because they're not in that mindset. Most of them, a roofer for the most part is really good at roofing. They're not trained salespeople,
They're not.
and that's why GCs, dude. If I knew how to use a hammer, which I don't. Um, I think I could run the most successful general contracting business because I just know how to follow up with people, and
Mhm.
I know how to show up on time to appointments. That's all you got to do if you
Answer your phone.
you know. All right, last one. Use analytics and data. We kind of talked about it on, you know, with the 3-pack. But yeah, let's just kind of wrap up with this.
Well, we kind of talked about that a little bit already. You have, like I said, people are so uncomfortable about this. I know that when I speak with my partner agents about it, like we need a price reduction, it's 30 days. You've got to show data. The only thing I would suggest is conversations are great, but illustrations are even better, right? So, Mike, I'm going to send you data today, and I'm going to give you a follow-up call at 1 o'clock. How does that sound on a text message? So you can prepare to be in front of your screen. You can look at what I've sent you, so it makes sense rather than just having a conversation. I mean, having a conversation, you have to do that. That's the follow-up of what you're sending, but you got to show proof of that.
Yeah.
You just do. People believe what they see on TV. People believe news. They believe media. That's why there's good media, bad media, whatever, right? But you have got to be the voice, and you've got to show them you are the advisor, you are the consultant, you're the captain, you're the coach. That's why they hired you. This is a large asset. Take charge.
Now, I didn't ask you beforehand, so I don't want to put you on the spot, but tell us a little bit about your team. And I don't know whether you're looking to grow your team or what your situation is, but your team, I can't use that kind of word, but kicks butt.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Thanks, Mike. Um, yes, we're always looking for good talent. We have a lot of leads that are going on right now. We just do. We rotate phones every 3 to 4 days, and we try to cap it at 10. And then the rotation's right around every 3.5 to 4 weeks. But just because you're on that 3 or 4 day time period, you're clocking out on a Sunday for the next person who's on overhaul that's ready to come on to the next to take on leads that next day. So we're blessed that we have a lot of lead generating partners and a lot of lead buckets. So we're getting that right now. We're always looking for good talent. Absolutely. We prefer experience. I don't know. I mean, I hate to say that because I would like to try to groom people, but it does take a lot of time. We work differently than others. We work on a lot of analytics. We work on a lot of sales skills, with education and so on and so forth. Yeah, I don't know, but thank you for the plug on that.
All right, last question. Well, first of all, have you ever been on the podcast with us?
No,
Oh my gosh, what's wrong with you, Nick?
I keep bringing him up. You keep saying no. I don't know why, Martin.
I
I've
would
asked
never,
you a few times.
I would never have said no. Okay.
probably because it's always on a Monday.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So let's just say with everything that you know now, and you had the ability to go back in time and give the younger Martin Sears, who's just starting out in real estate, one piece of advice,
Yeah,
what would
easy,
it be?
easy. I would have saved a lot of. I would have not missed a lot of football games, basketball games for my kids. Taking my wife out, I owe her tons of dates. And a team, generally, people, it is a team, right? And they're your partners. When you say like one of me or them or one of my agents, I feel like it's demeaning. We are partners, and when we do hire somebody, we have a group discussion about who we're going to bring for our culture, if it's a good fit or not. I was always big solo agent. You can talk to the people here at West, especially Todd. I've known Todd for almost 20 years, and Todd has always been the one like, you have got to have a team, Martin. You're consistently doing your top 1% within the West brand. I know you're working 7 days a week. I just never respected the team aspect of it when I was in my late 30s, early 40s. I just wanted to grind. It was just a blue collar mentality, go, 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 go. And I kind of fell into a team in 2019, yeah, 2019 by default. And I'm so glad that I did. I wish I could go back and tell myself, get the experience, get the respect. You have to have the experience to get the respect from your peers or the people that you're going to bring on and work with as a partnership. But you've got to get that. But don't do it like I did it. I did it for 15 years as a solo agent. That's ridiculous. You don't need to do that.
All right. Well, and we have some great teams here at West USA, and of course, the Sears team out in the West Valley. If you do want more information about our coaching program here at West USA and or teams, you have Martin number up there, or just reach out to your office manager, and they will point you in the right direction. Martin, great dialogue. We will do this again in 13 years.
Appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun.
All right, we leave you with the quote of the day. The best agents aren't lucky, they're consistent. Go out and sell a home.